On March 21st, 2025, the State Department approved the revocation of a student visa for Rumeysa Öztürk, a Turkish citizen who is a graduate student at Tufts University, apparently simply for writing an op-ed. According to an internal State Department memo, you took this action under your discretionary authority to revoke visas, and soon after you revoked her visa, armed and masked plainclothes officers snatched Ms. Öztürk off the street and transported her to a prison in Louisiana. Mr. Secretary, do you really think that Ms. Öztürk's op-ed results in a foreign policy consequence for the United States?
I believe that case involves someone whose visa we never would have granted had we known ahead of time.
I'm not asking you that question. I'm asking you if you think an op-ed, but that's exactly, in fact, what happened. The State Department wrote a memo concluding that you did not have sufficient grounds to revoke Ms. Öztürk's visa. There was no evidence showing that she'd engaged in any activities or a threat to national security. And in fact, in May, a federal court ordered Ms. Öztürk's release from detention, noting that the sole basis for the government's detention appeared to be the fact that she co-authored this opinion piece in the Tufts newspaper in March of 2024. Where in the Constitution does it say that the Secretary of State can override the First Amendment protections of free speech? Is there a footnote that I missed somewhere?
There's no constitutional right to a student visa.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so this one's going to get pretty spicy. I'm loving Marco Rubio. I don't know why. This dude, like, he seemed like such a rhino, right? Like, he was okay. He says some stuff that's all right, you know, back in the day in the Senate. But ever since he's come in under the Trump administration, he's just been hitting them out of the park. It has just been absolutely fabulous what is going on with all these criminal aliens and all these people. I'm loving everything that's going on. This is going to get good. This back and forth is great. They go over several key issues. And, you know, Marco Rubio, he expertly puts these people back in their places, taking the rhetoric from the left, this deranged nonsense, lunacy, if you will, and brings it back down to reality and says, look, we have the right to revoke visas as a matter of fact. And, you know, say what you want, do what you will, but nobody is entitled to a visa, right? He can't do this for anybody, any citizen in the country, any legal resident, blah, 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 blah. You can't really do that, right? Because First Amendment and all that. But when you get a visa and you come into the country, they have the right to revoke that. You do not get the exact same rights that everybody else gets, as a matter of fact, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense anyway. Why would you go into another country and then start just running your freaking mouth about that country, just trashing that government? You think nothing is going to happen, for goodness sakes? I mean, do we really want people like that in this country that are bashing the United States repeatedly over and over and over again? Like, why would we want these people in the country? If you hate America so much, get out, for crying out loud. That's what I have to say about this. But these people, they think that everybody in the world is entitled to United States citizenship, for crying out loud. But, you know, enough of my ranting. Let's go ahead and finish this clip out, and then we'll discuss this a little bit more and break down some of these ridiculous talking points.
But is there a constitutional right? Does it say somewhere that Marco Rubio gets to determine which speech is appropriate and revoke student visas based on what you think constitutes free speech?
There's a statute that says the Secretary of State gets to determine whether someone is a threat. We deny visas every day all over the world.
Do you think that the Immigration and Nationality Act trumps the Constitution of the United States, Mr. Secretary?
Well, Congress can always change the law if you want, but I'm telling you,
Mr. Secretary,
while I have the authority, I will continue to revoke the visas of these people that come here to tear this country apart.
You said that, Mr. Secretary. Let me reclaim my time, because you are talking about revoking student visas based on what somebody says, and that means that you are trumping the legal Supreme Court, the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution of the United States.
No one has a right to a student visa.
Mr. Rubio, why did the administration need to use masked, armed, unidentified agents to whisk somebody off the street and deny her counsel for almost 24 hours after her arrest?
Well, you'll have to ask the agencies that did that work. I'm not responsible for that. I'm responsible for revoking the visas of these people that come to tear this country apart.
I'm talking about this particular case where you revoked the student visa of a Turkish citizen who was a graduate student who wrote an op-ed that you didn't like. And suddenly you allowed for masked men to whisk her off the street. And you have multiple jobs, apparently. You're the national security advisor as well. So don't tell me it's not your job who snatches her off the street.
We don't do the snatching, but I can tell you we do the visa revocations.
Let me ask
and we're
you
going to
about
keep
the
doing
national security consequences of people, masked men on the streets, snatching people off the streets. If these are legitimate law enforcement agents carrying out proper arrests, why are they hiding their identities?
Because then radical crazies will try to hurt them.
So you think that U.S. agents who have almost always gone without face coverings, even when they're arresting some of the country's most dangerous criminals, suddenly have so much to fear from a graduate student who wrote an op-ed that they need to be masked? Is that
you see, and that coming from Pramila Jayapal right there, that's just political theater outright. She knows that the far left, they are violent, they are dangerous, they are lunatics, as a matter of fact. These people, they definitely don't need to be wearing shirts that have ICE written on them, because far leftists will firebomb the whatever, it doesn't matter. They will firebomb anything and everything to try to harm the administration. The left has gone crazy. Just look at everything that's going on right now. And they say, oh, it's the right that's the violent extremists. Well, show me something outside of January 6th that was violent and extreme. Go ahead. I'll wait.
That law student was a guest in the United States on a student visa. No one's entitled to a student visa.
So you revoked her student visa based on an op-ed which trumps the Supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution.
Someone's coming up here to stir up problems on our campus. We're going to revoke their visa.
She didn't do any of that. She wrote an op-ed.
Well,
she wrote an op-ed, and I'm talking to you about her particular case.
Claims and your claims. Those are not the facts.
You reclaiming my time. You revoked her student visa because she wrote an op-ed.
And would you revoke? We're going to do more.
I have another question for you. Would you revoke the visa of someone in the United States who published claims that, quote, Jews are an untrustworthy and dangerous group? Yes or no?
We will revoke the visa of anyone who's in this country as a guest who's here to stir up trouble.
Are you going to revoke the visa of somebody who made that?
The case, I'll look at it. I'm looking to get crazy people out of our country.
Actually, it's not just about revoking. You actually, Secretary Rubio, excuse me, reclaiming my time. Can you explain to me why the Trump administration granted refugee status to Charles Kleinhaus, the white Afrikaner who tweeted that exact statement that I just said? There's the case.
That's not a visa.
You granted that person to enter the United States.
That's a totally different process. That's someone that applied here through a totally different process.
Secretary Rubio,
visas are a privilege.
Secretary
we deny
Rubio,
them all the time,
you
and we'll revoke
revoked
them.
a visa based on an op-ed, and then you allowed for masked men to snatch somebody off the street.
Your time is expired.
That's your claim. That's not accurate.
Recognized.
Oh, the left is absolutely butthurt over the Afrikaner refugees, as a matter of fact. They can't stand anything that Donald Trump does, and I love it, y'all. The Trump administration is actually doing the job that the government should be doing, trying to protect its citizens, trying to keep this country clean and safe for its citizens, trying to bring back manufacturing. They're trying to do everything that they can to make this country a better place. And what the left does, and Democrats, they don't care about your safety. We've gone over this several times. If you happen to be a Democrat that just so happened to stumble upon this video, and you think what I'm saying is just ridiculousness, go through my video archive and I shall prove it to you outright. Because the left, we show all these news articles, all these actions from these people. Just look at what's going on with this one guy over here in, what was that, Boulder, Colorado, that set people on fire, screaming free Palestine and all this nonsense. You think that's the right doing stuff? Like, no, it's not. As a matter of fact, these far left extremists have gone insane. And now Democrats want far left extremists from all over the world to come into the country. And Marco Rubio and Donald Trump, they're saying, no, you can get out. We don't want you here. But he absolutely can, for any reason, revoke a visa, and almost nothing can be done about it. Sure, you can take it to court, but what are you going to do at that point? Like, are you going to argue with the administration over this? Like, I would love to see how this plays out in court. But what we have going on with the court system, like the court system, you used to be able to depend on the court system to judge fairly. These days, with all these activist judges we have on the circuit that we were absolutely told were put in place to stop Donald Trump for this moment right here. Chuck Schumer came out and told us.
There are those who believe that we are in real time living through an assault on the constitutional order. Do you believe that we are in a constitutional crisis right now?
Yes, our democracy is at risk because Donald Trump shows that he wishes to violate the laws in many, many different ways. The good news here is we did put 235 judges, progressive judges, judges not under the control of Trump last year on the bench, and they are ruling against Trump time after time after time. And we hope that the appellate courts, when it gets up there in the Supreme Court, will uphold those rulings. They restored the money to NIH. They required that 8,000 federal employees have to come back. We're in over 100 lawsuits against them, and we are having a good deal of success. It's only at the lower court level right now.
It is absurd what is going on. They are not ruling based upon the law. They are ruling based upon their emotions and what the left believes is to be true, which is usually deranged and nonsensical. The Trump administration will continue to revoke visas, continue to deny entry to this country to people that do not deserve to be here. If you want to come into the country illegally, good freaking luck at this point. If you want to come into the country as a guest and then start running your mouth about the country, I always take this back. Like, what would you do if somebody came into your house, somebody else invited these people into your house, and they came in and started running their mouth about you? Would you not want to make these people leave, or would you just allow them, because we live in a free society, would you just allow them to just run their mouth nonstop about you, and you just put up with it and say, nah, it's okay, they can go ahead and stay, that's fine? No, I'm sorry. Any sane person would kick these people out and say, look, either shut up, stop running your mouth, or you can get the F out. It's as simple as that. And don't think for a second that Pramila Jayapal cares about these people one freaking cent. They don't care a single bit about any of these people. The only reason they're quote unquote mad about this is because it's the Trump administration doing it. We all know that Donald Trump is trying to clean up this country. We know what the Biden administration did. He allowed an absolute invasion to come across our southern border. He allowed anybody and everybody to come into this country. Just give anybody and everybody visas. Don't care about who they are, what they think about the country. Just give them a visa. Let them come in. No, I'm sorry. The Trump administration, they're more about keeping us safe, keeping our country secure. And the Democrats, they just can't seem to handle it. But I love it. Continue to do what you do, Democrats, because you're continually digging yourself a hole. Because when regular people, they get out there and look at everything that's going on, everything that the Democrats are standing up against, and they realize that, hang on just a second, that's deranged as hell what Democrats are doing. They're just continually digging that hole, folks, and they're digging themselves deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's going to be harder and harder and harder to pull themselves out of that, right? Nobody wants to see the Democratic Party absolutely freaking destroy themselves. We need the two-party system. I'm a firm believer of the two-party system, right? More parties would be okay too, but I don't think more than 3 is a good thing. Right? I think there are problems with a two-party system that, we've allowed a lot of corruption to come in to the two-party system, but I think it's necessary at least 2 parties, if not 3. But regardless, right, we don't need a Democratic Party in complete shambles like it is right now. We need healthy parties to, discourse back and forth, having debates, discussing ideas, getting them out on the table, legislating, doing all that good stuff. We don't need a Democratic Party that has lost their freaking minds and would allow criminals to just run roughshod over everybody in the freaking country, because that's exactly what they want. That's exactly what we saw with the Biden administration, and that is exactly what Democrats are standing up for. Donald Trump deports an MS-13 gang member, and the corporate press and Democrats say, oh, Trump deported a Maryland father, for crying out loud. That's how deranged these people are. And I'm here for it, y'all. Like I said, I don't like to see it, but I definitely will cover it, because the more we cover these actions, the more we push back against the Democrats and say, you've lost your freaking mind. Maybe they will realize that they've lost their freaking mind and come back to the playing field, because they've left, folks. Literally, they've left off of the playing field. They're way over there in BFE, and nobody knows how to get them back to the playing field. It's crazy, y'all, but I think that's all I got on this one. Y'all don't forget to smash that like button for me. I would surely appreciate that if y'all would do that. Also, subscribe if you like content like this. Hey, we make videos every day. We cover corporate press news articles all the time, so y'all make sure and tune in for the manipulations, if you will, because you're being manipulated if you read the news, and if you don't read the news, then you're definitely being heavily manipulated by what's going on in the world. So y'all make sure and subscribe and stay tuned for all of that. And if you could, if you'd be so inclined, I would greatly appreciate if you guys would look right below the video and click that join button, sign up, become a member, help me deliver better content to you guys. That's a great way to help me out. If you would do so, I would be greatly appreciative of that gesture. So y'all go ahead and do that. Share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. But that is all I got. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. And y'all try to have a good day. Stay logical. Peace.